Hello, my people. It's Dahlia.
And Nicole.
And this is Quiche My Ass. You guys love that. I know you do. So today we have an amazing guest.
A duo.
A duo, as we shall say. We worked with both of them, but I personally worked with one of them.
Yeah, and I've worked with both of them. It's Jayce and Rebecca.
Wow. So I'm just going to give everyone a little background on who these two people are. They worked with us at Danielle in the pastry department, and they killed it. And then they got married, and then they had a baby. And now we're also here to talk about their future.
And how we're still killing it.
You're still killing it. Like, literally, they just walked in. I haven't seen them in like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. No, I haven't seen. Her, I see a little bit more. But, like, holy moly. There's a baby here, and she's going to turn one in a few months. So, welcome, guys.
So, when I first started, Jayce was the sous chef of the executive pastry chef of Restaurant Danielle. Sorry, chef. And when I left Danielle, Rebecca was the executive pastry chef.
Yes.
Or executive pastry sous chef of Restaurant Danielle.
Yeah.
So it's
we're literally with like two killers in the industry, literally. And Jayce trained Rebecca.
Yes.
Yeah. So you could go first.
And I don't know if you guys, maybe I'll just dive right in, but you guys met while Jayce was your boss. And things happen. Everybody, you guys, obviously you can hear
There's a baby now.
There's a baby now. You guys are married happily ever after. But with your new venture, who's in charge?
Oh. Jayce is still always in charge.
Well, no, I mean, the thing is, it's this project I started on my own, and at some point it was just like making sense. Like, first I was needing help, and who's the best person I could have with me, working with me, is the person that I trust the most in the kitchen. As you say, like, I trained Rebecca, and she became, like, someone who I know if she's taking care of something in pastry, I know I don't need to be behind her. And especially,
which I love about you two, because you showed her the ropes, and then she literally just like jumped on it and was like, I could do this.
Well, as you say, like, Rebecca,
all of my training is from Jayce. Like, he trained me from a little baby out of school.
Oh my God.
What I am today. I mean,
which is a boss ass bitch, but go on.
Well, she was not even out of school. I mean, like, the funny story, as you say, with Rebecca, we met at the restaurant, but like, she started as a free stage. So I was at Danielle.
Just so everyone knows, a free stage means you're working for free in the kitchen just for experience.
Yeah. So and
it's a thing.
And he came out. They were like, "Oh, hey, you know what, guys? You're gonna have like this girl, like, she coming for like, I think 2 days a week, and she's gonna work for free." And we were like, "Okay, fine." So she started at Danielle like this, and honestly, like, and that's why it's very funny in our story. It's like, when the first time we see each other, I saw this girl, and I was just fresh out of France, and in France.
If you can't tell anyone.
Yeah, I'm sure the accent will tell. But like, especially when I just moved, in France, like, tattoo was like pretty bad in a kitchen to wear. Like, no one were having tattoo, and I see this girl coming out, have tattoo everywhere, and I'm like, what is that? Like, it sounds so bad to say that today, but like, I was like, what is that? And even her, she will tell you, like, after a couple of weeks, she was like, this guy is a fucking asshole. I hate him.
He can say that. He's totally allowed to say that.
No,
he's talking about himself.
Like, that's not like, everybody have a love story, like, we saw at first sight and we fell in love. That's not us.
Wait, so you actually were like, who is this guy?
So you guys didn't like each other at first.
Wow, I love that.
Well, he obviously thought that I wasn't very attractive.
No, I didn't say attractive, but like, she was.
I still have tattoos, piercing. I had piercings, and I guess he just wasn't used to that in the kitchen. So when I showed up, he was like surprised as to what he was just sent as his new free stage. So, and I had never worked in a kitchen before.
Or with a French person.
And I've got to say, Jace was not a nice person.
Well, I mean, I'm not a nice person.
That's the role.
You're tough. You're tough. That's what it is.
I think you always start like this. Like people, when they don't know me and haven't started with me, they do think like this guy is an asshole. He's always yelling and all of this. But at the end of the day, at some point when you walk again, you discover that any time that I'm actually yelling and all of that, it's not just to be mean. There is something behind. It's first to make you better, and it's always justified. Like. And then when you really sit down and like think about it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, it was a reason. And that's how it starts with Rebecca. And like she started, and you know, we gave her like the smallest thing to do, and that was okay. And by those smallest thing that we gave her, I think the first thing was like to spread meringues, which was very annoying to do. And she killed it, you know. And you're like, damn, this girl, okay, she's pretty good, you know, and she's doing that. So you start to giving her a little more, and all the time she was killing it and make it nicely, and you're like, okay, that's fine. And it just happened, and at some point, we ended up to be very short-staffed to go from a team from 13 people, we went down to 4, and we were really like in the shit, like for real. And she was killing it for the day where she were, and I was like, well, because she was going to school on a weekend and she had a second job.
Oh wow, I didn't know it was all this.
Yeah,
you had a lot of stuff
ice
going
on the weekend.
Yeah, I was like booked 7 days a week.
Yeah, and
did you start at Danielle before me or after me? I don't remember.
I think before.
I don't remember either.
Before?
Yeah. It's all a blur. The whole
because
when I started, I definitely remember Jace because I remember getting yelled at by Jace, but I don't remember you when I first started.
I started, I think it was in like November. It was like just before the busy season.
Like
I think
year?
2015.
Okay, so I started August, so we probably started the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 2015 I started.
Yeah, so I guess we started at the same time.
Yeah.
We probably didn't even know who
How long were you at Danielle for?
I think I came here in the US and started Danielle in 2013.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't remember when did I move to the AP3.
Yeah, so
it was like the 3 years I was there though.
3 or 4 years, yeah.
Do you want to give us a little background about your journey with the company or
before and like
and before?
Yeah, so before the company. So to make it long story short, like in France you usually start to work way earlier than you do in the US. So me, I was at school. I was like at this time I was like 13 years old, and I was good at school. Like I always liked it school, but I was bored. So I was very interested by working. I didn't know what, but I was very interested by working. So I actually switched my school to a professional school where they give you like a year where you end up to go to stage on different type of company. And so I did that, and I have been lucky to have parents to support me into this and being like, they didn't care about what I was gonna be. If he was a lawyer, a judge, or like a garbage picker, they didn't care what they wanted. They wanted me to be happy and to do what I want. And
so there's no chefs in your family at all?
I will tell you at the end of the story.
Okay.
But at this time,
this is actually a Jace podcast, not Rebecca.
No, we're gonna go to Rebecca.
But at the starting was this. So I start chocolate, and I liked it, and I did couple stages, and I kept going on this, and I signed up to do apprenticeship when I was 14 years old. I work in Bordeaux, my hometown. Move later to Paris in a fancy hotel called Plaza Athénée, which was like the best spot to do pastry at this time. And I moved to another job, and I ended up to wanted a new challenge and moved to New York, and I moved to Daniel's Baudry kitchen. And
did you know who Daniel Balut was when you got here?
Absolutely not.
Apparently nobody in
France
that's why I'm
who he is. It's just true. Like the thing is like
So how did you get the offer?
Well, my last job that I had in France in Lyon for a pretty famous pastry chef. After a year and a half, I couldn't evolve more in this position. So my boss was like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" I was like, "Well, you know what? I would like to try the US." maybe, but I was not speaking a word of English at this time. And so I was planning that like a year later, and my boss came out with an email of Daniel Boulu saying, my boss actually contacted him, say, hey, I have this guy, you want to come to the US? And Daniel Boulu answers saying, okay, my HR company service is gonna contact him. And they did. And next thing that you know, I have Eric Bertoya, who was a corporate pastry chef at this time, calling me and say, okay, all right, great, we expect you in 2 months. And I'm like, okay. And at this time, I had an apartment, I had a car, a motorcycle, and I had to sell everything. And then 2 months later, I was in New York.
How long were you planning on staying in New York, though?
Well, I came with a 1-year visa.
Okay.
So far, that's what I was expecting to do. And it turned out after a couple of months, then we made a new visa, and it kept going like this. And now I think this year's going to be the 8th year. 8 years.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So you worked at Restaurant Daniel, and then after that, where did you go?
Well, at some point, like, you know, me, I'm originally a pastry chef of a store, of a boutique. And I was at Daniel not because I choose it, because that was the opportunity. But I did that, and at some point they had some trouble in the stores that they have for the Dynex company. And Daniel Boulu came to see me and asked me if I could help them. And I was like, well, yeah, that's my first job, like a pastry chef in a store. So he proposed me this, and I just went along with it, and I stayed there.
So your only pastry job was that one restaurant that you were at before?
Where, before the US?
Yeah.
No. I did like a couple different jobs in my hometown in Bordeaux.
Oh, okay.
After in Paris, after in Lyon, and after in New York.
Was New York hard when you got here?
Compared to France?
No, it's easier. It's easier. I think you both have worked in a French restaurant and you see how hard it is. Well, you can multiply that by 2 in France. Well, the thing is...
But what about like the employees? Because you're working with Americans now. You're like, oh shit, like these are so different than French workers.
Well, at first it was like a very strong difference because, as I said, like, you know, in France, like, it's no joke around. Like, I mean, like, you fucked up something. First, we not pay by hour. We all salary in France. You fucked up something, they're gonna be like, okay, no problem. You fucked it up, no problem. When everybody leaves tonight, well, you stay and you do it again.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Or your boss look at something, oh, doesn't look good. Take it, put it in a garbage, and you redo it again. And it was pretty hard in France, I'm not gonna lie. I know you have changed. And when I came in the US, so it was not as hard, but way more than it is today. I think today it really changed, which is good, I think. But like, yeah, it was easier for me than...
When I worked in Italy for 4 months, it was way harder than even New York. It's the standard they hold people to is so different, and also the level of professionalism it's just so different. It's some cooks you get here in America, they're here just for a job, but in Italy or in Europe, when you're cooking,
that's their passion.
That's what you've been doing. That's your passion. So definitely.
So I want to go towards Rebecca, because when you walked right into Danielle, Jayce noticed that you were a hard worker. Where did that come from? Did you work in high school?
I don't think he noticed when I walked in. He noticed.
Oh my god. She's so salty about that.
Those are probably the wedding vows. Well, he didn't notice when I walked in.
Well, he still married me, so obviously he liked something, but...
Because you're a badass, beautiful bitch. Sorry, there's a baby here, but like...
I never really knew that I would end up in a kitchen in New York City, like...
But you grew up in Long Island, so you weren't far.
Yeah, I grew up in Long Island, but I never thought I would be working and living in Manhattan. Like, that was always a dream of mine, but I never really saw it to be possible. And then, like, I don't know, one day it just happened. Like, I was in New York City working in this, like, it was...
Sorry, everyone. I'm slurping my drink.
So annoying. I didn't even know what Michelin star restaurants were at that point.
What age?
I was 23.
Oh, wow. So you didn't go to college at all for culinary until you started working at Danielle?
Yeah, I actually started working at Danielle and going to school literally at the same time.
Wow. And where did you go to school?
I went to ICE.
Oh, okay. So that's not
But
far.
then, so in high school when you were graduating, what were you planning on doing?
Well, I went to college, like regular,
For what?
traditional college.
Traditional.
I went for, I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Oh my God, this is going to be such a shock when I hear what
I
it
kind
is.
of did the whole traditional college thing because I felt this pressure pretty much from
society.
my family and society that if you don't go to school, you'll make nothing of yourself. So, I did it just to kind of do the motions. But
Did you finish?
No. I wouldn't be here today if I finished. I started going for graphic design because my grandmother, she's a graphic designer. And
Your grandmother's a graphic designer?
yeah, she's retired now, but she was a
I've
graphic
never-
designer. So I tried to maybe follow in her footsteps, and when I was going to school,
You were like, nah.
I was like sitting in front of the computer in my class, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do all of this on the computer, and I'm just like, I can't imagine myself doing this for an hour. So
I
for
can't do
the
it all.
duration of the class. So I don't think that I'm gonna be able to do this for my entire
I
life.
can't
Like,
picture you ever sitting behind a computer.
I am
Imagine.
No.
technologically handicapped. I cannot.
That's a
Oh,
big-
really?
that's
That's
crazy.
funny. So you were just
You
like,
should have seen me the other day.
oh, what's wrong?
Jace asked me to make a coffee chart, like, a diagram kind of like a picture of a coffee cup with lines and ratios of how to mix the different coffee drinks that we're going to serve in our shop. And I was like literally on Microsoft Word and trying to do this, and I felt really challenged. So
That's hilarious.
Aw.
yeah, graphic design didn't work out. And
Do we have to sing a song for her?
No, she's fine. She wants attention.
Yeah.
Aw.
So yeah, after I went through this little phase where I wanted to go to landscape design and like
I
design.
cannot picture you doing
I guess
anything.
I think I was lucky where I always kind of knew what I wanted. I
Yeah.
was
started
pushed.
cooking when I was 14, and I was like, well, this is it.
Well, this is the thing. Like I always loved cooking and baking growing up, and
She loves
I-
cooking savory.
But you
Did
cook
know
at
that?
savory at home, right? You don't
yeah,
bake at home.
I love cooking. Like I'm obsessed with food, and even Jayce sometimes he just wants a simple like canned string beans and some chicken like cooked
And you
in the
want to do
skillet.
it elaborate.
And I'm like, so basic. So I'm overdoing it. And yeah, so I always knew I wanted to do that, but I always read that they don't get paid well. You have to work long hours.
Which
like,
it's true. Like,
all of that is true. So that put me off. So I never did it. And then one day I had like this like little mental breakdown, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And I did it. And I finally found my place. I don't
and
know.
you were like, wow, this is it.
do you think if it wasn't for Jayce, you wouldn't like it?
No.
Like if it was another restaurant and you didn't find some French man training you.
Well, he definitely helped me blossom in a professional way.
Yes.
How? Okay.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Come here. She could come and join us.
So how long was it before you and Jace's love affair started?
Oh,
And we
God.
don't have to talk about this for very long because we want to talk like more about your future
I think it
goals
was
and
about a year.
what you're working
We
on.
worked for pretty much about a year before. You start in November, I think. We actually start dating in like June, July.
Because it was a big secret at the restaurant.
There was always, at first there was like this real hatred towards him, but after, I don't know.
How's that working out now?
There's still a little. No. I don't know. After like a certain point in time, I don't know when it turned, but I started to become like so attracted to him and his knowledge, and like he really took me
Aw.
under his wing and was like teaching me everything that he knows, and I was actually really good at it. So I felt good about myself, and he made me feel good about myself that I was doing well in my position, and I don't know. I just
Did you find
started-
her hard work attractive? You were
started
like,
to
oh my
fall in
god,
love.
like this
Well,
girl knows her shit.
Yeah,
How'd you do it?
I mean,
I knew nothing. I didn't know anything.
I know.
Like,
That's
I
why I
was
just
green.
think it's
Well,
hilarious.
as I was saying, like at some point we ended up to be like with no one in the team, and like I was really like I have way too much work, and she was working so good, and like that's why I told her, I said, well, quit your job, your second job, then you have, and like.
Where was the second job?
Oh no, are we gonna laugh?
I worked at a bagel store in Long Island.
Dude, Long
But
Island
I
has
was
the best
running
bagels.
that bagel store. Like, I was a great worker. I cared about the food. So, like.
So when he told you that, you're like, I should choose the job that actually cares
told
about
him
the product.
I was like, well, I'm making cash.
Yeah.
And I'm making this amount of money per week. Can you match that? And he was like, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
And did he match it?
He more than matched it. Yeah.
Okay,
Wow, good.
So I was like, all right.
Because we know
I'm
that.
quitting today.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I asked her how much she was making, and she told me, and I was like, all right. So I went to talk to JFK, which was the executive chef at Daniel. I was like, listen, we have no one. This girl is good. I need her in my team. And I knew how much she was making, and I tell him, okay, she's making this. I want this amount.
You should have asked
For
for
her.
way more.
No, I got her more
Now
than
we
she
know.
was making because she didn't know.
Because you're not going to leave a job if you're making less.
And she was making tips and cash. So
Yeah.
and so I was
When
like,
I think about the team at that point, actually, like, it was literally just me, one girl, and Jayce in the morning. And I think Chef had maybe 2 cooks
yeah,
at night.
we were
So
6.
when you think about the team, like, as we kept going throughout the years, like, Jayce eventually left and went to Prep Kitchen, but, like, we've
had a lot of
teams
people.
of, like, 15 people at some point.
So for it to be 4 or 3, it's crazy.
Well, me and
yeah,
Nicole.
especially at that time, we had more desserts, too. Like,
Yeah, you had a
because
lot.
they've really reduced the menu since then, especially with the pandemic and everything. Like, when I left, I think we had, like, 5 desserts on the menu
Yeah,
total.
this time we had 10 dessert on the menu.
Yeah.
It was 10
That's
Plus
pretty
specials
crazy.
too, right?
plus banquet, plus feast and fete,
Yeah.
plus the catering.
That
and all
was
of
when
this.
the restaurant was, like, in full boom. So
Yeah.
it's just
Wow.
funny to think of that now, and we did it.
Well,
like,
I think they need more hands ever because people don't want to work. So
Yeah,
like they're just
that's
bringing
true.
more people in. When I started, it was just me and Nicole,
yeah.
and it was just nuts that it was just me and her.
Well, at this time too, the thing you need to remember is like minimum wage was not that high.
No, it
So
was 12
in
an
a
hour.
restaurant-
I left a salary job in DC to come work for like a minimum wage in New York City.
Yeah, me
But
too.
So
The
crazy.
thing it was so
Not
low,
DC.
then they were not really bothering us about overtime.
Yeah.
So if we had to stay, we were staying. And sometimes I have made them like for crazy holiday or stuff like this. I have made them. They were starting at 6. I made them stay until like 10 p.m. and no one ever bothered me.
Yeah.
And because we were like, well, that's
But
a
then,
job.
like,
That's what
towards
you
the
had to do.
end of what you were doing
yeah.
last year, they were
Yeah.
like,
Oh, no,
you
that
need to
was-
kick them out. You need to
Yeah.
kick them out. Yeah.
That was
I remember when $15 an hour became minimum wage in New York, every restaurant was nervous.
And I was
Every
the manager,
place.
and I was like, wait, do I get 50? Like, it was just so crazy,
Yeah,
you know?
because you're just like, you're worried. I remember everyone was just nervous in the kitchen. And they did cut like a day off of people, which like, it does matter. Like it does.
So, where are you guys going now? What's next?
So we opening a pastry shop.
Yay!
I mean,
Was this inspired by the pandemic, or was this something you've been working on for a while?
No, I mean it was definitely due to the pandemic. Like as we were saying, before that I had executive pastry position in the city for the 3 stores, and you know
For a Pastry Boulud.
for Pastry Baudry, and I was already kind of on my way out to trying to find something new. Was needing a new challenge, and so the pandemic happened, and Rebecca and I got laid off, the 2 of us, which ended up to be not a very wrong time because she was pregnant at this time.
Woo woo!
So yeah.
So cute. She's adorable. Everyone needs to go on the YouTube and watch.
I know.
And so we were at home and staying home, and the problem is like I cannot stay home and do nothing. Like I
Yeah.
can do it for like 2 days, but after 2 days, if I'm not doing something, I'm getting crazy. So a couple months pass, and I end up to have my friends and our old boss Olivier Muller, who have his restaurant in New Jersey in Monclair, and to ask me if I can help him with his pastry menu. And I'm like, well, you know what? I have time, and Rebecca too. She was home, and I'm like, well, you know what? Let me come with Rebecca, and like, let's look at it. And so we redesigned the whole menu for him, and restart. And after he,
which I'm going there for lunch tomorrow.
yeah, you're gonna love it.
What dessert should I order?
All of them.
Okay.
The cheesecake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you like the dessert there?
I'm a huge fan of cheesecake, so I'll always get the cheesecake anytime we
it's
go
the
out
Long
for
Island
dinner.
in you.
I know, right? Jeez.
Wow,
So-
it really is. I never saw that before.
So no, and so after he asked me to help him a little bit, and I think like from everybody during the pandemic on this business, anyone who had a friend who had a restaurant or something like this, we kind of went to help them. That was mostly just to keep me busy, and hanging out there, and he appeared, and like this town of Monclair that I didn't really knew much. He ended up to be like a town where, there's a lot of money over there.
In Monclair, in New
Monclair,
Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they love food. They do, and they okay. And I was seeing like the people coming in and order like 12 bottles of champagne, like
Wow.
Dom Perignon, and you're like, what's going on over here? And we were in the middle of the pandemic. And sometimes we were still doing 300
Jersey
cover.
did not care if they were in the
No.
middle of
Oh,
a
yeah.
pandemic.
And
They
They
did not
removed the
care.
mask mandate. Like, I think
Before-
they're still wearing masks at
No.
Danielle.
Yeah, but they're not wearing masks. Anywhere in Jersey, no masks.
Oh yeah.
Except
yeah,
for at my work, we have to wear a mask every day.
No, but the thing is, like, that was the middle of the pandemic, like in July of last year, and they are also very lucky. They have a huge terrace, but with the turnover, we were ending up to do 300 cover on the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
that was crazy. And so I was there
Wow.
and seeing all of these, and it happened, and like, their landlord of their restaurant was like, well, you know what? I have a place just next door, like a block away, that I'm renting, and like, so I went to visit it, and
That's what Olivier said? He was
No.
renting or you were renting?
No, Olivier, so their landlord had another local, like another emplacement. Then he was like a block away. So I went there, visited, it was very nice. And that's how the whole adventure started. And I was like, okay, well, but I don't have a kitchen. And Olivier was like, well, you know what? We have a huge basement. Do you want to do a kitchen inside? And that's kind of how we start.
Have you ever worked with him before?
Well, yeah, he was my corporate chef when
Okay,
I was
okay.
in my time at Dynex, and we always had like a pretty good relationship. Like Olivier is one of the corporate chefs, savory corporate chef who understand the importance of pastry.
That's good though. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like it's so rare to find
Well,
that.
when you're in pastry, you're always frustrated with savory side, unfortunately, who don't really
There
take
is a
you,
huge divide.
yeah, who
there's
don't
a
take
huge
you
divide.
as seriously as they will take the savory side.
They think
you
it's
know?
not as important, or the pastry chef,
Yeah, or they're like,
Yeah.
they have everything in the freezer, it's easy,
Yeah,
and like,
that's the big thing
Yeah, that's-
Savory always thinks about pastry is we have the freezer. That's like what saves us from falling apart. Because it seems like Savory is always in the shits, and pastry is always like ready.
Yeah,
Ready
because
to
you
go.
guys
You have to
know.
be.
Like, well, you can just put everything in the freezer, so
which is not true, but
Yeah, especially if you glaze something, you can't
Yeah.
put that in the freazer.
well, I think
I know. I love you guys, so
I think
I,
it's more,
know.
it's because pastry, it's more about organization and like work ahead than savory, which I respect because I'm totally incapable to work in savory. Like, it's more instinct at the moment and all of this. Like, I'm someone who need to plan everything in advance, and that's really me.
Do you think your chocolate helped you with that, like your chocolate experience? Because I feel like chocolate you need to plan like very much in advance.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all mixed together. Like, like that's what I'm saying. Like, you're gonna do a dish, like let's say a meat. You're gonna receive your meat. You're gonna cut it and work on it. But like, you're gonna process it in the same day.
Yeah.
Well, when you make a cake, you need to think about, I have a biscuit to do. So you gotta make a biscuit. You gotta make an insert. You gotta make a glaze. But you cannot do everything on the same day. You need to be spread out because you have some freezing time or cooling time and all of this. So
and then layering, you have to layer and
Yeah.
then chill and then layer and then chill.
So what I really liked with Olivier was like, first he always have trust me, and even when he opened his restaurant, he was like, you know what, just make the menu, whatever you want. And he always have gave me freedom, and even when we were working at Dynext, and like, he's not like, he never have been like coming over me, checking what I was doing. He was like, you're doing it.
Yeah.
And that was fine, and we did couple like private event, just him and I, and sometimes he asked me to help him even with several. I was like, I don't know to do anything. Like, I'm a very bad cook. Like,
I feel like
No, I don't. Actually, I don't. I'm very bad at it. Like, ask me pastry, that's my deal. That's my jam.
Yeah.
Ask me anything else, that's definitely not me. Like, if I make an omelette,
which is funny because like Rebecca actually knows savory.
Yeah. Oh, she does. Like, I have a gourmet meal every night. Like, I cannot complain about that.
Rebecca, have you ever thought about doing savory, like actually cooking?
Professionally, I did consider it. I think that's actually one of the reasons why I chose pastry, because I know that sometimes when you make something your career, you kind of don't enjoy it
or do it
on the side. So I enjoy.
Are you telling me you don't do pastries at home?
No.
Do either of you bake at home?
No, absolutely not.
No
We
baking
have a
at home.
KitchenAid. We bought one for ourselves as a gift for Christmas, and we have not touched it since December of
Have you
2020.
like that's crazy.
That's
to think
so
about.
fun because I have to use a KitchenAid now, like constantly, because I have to bake.
Yeah.
And I never used to use a KitchenAid, like ever. And now I'm like,
I
I would
love-
bother you guys
yeah.
to use it, but
I love savory. I just kind of, no offense, because you girls are savory, obviously, but
we're
like,
not.
I
we're
didn't
not.
want to ruin it for myself. Like, that's kind of something that relaxes me, and I really enjoy it.
Pastry
so
doesn't relax you?
No, pastry. She gets like a. She's like.
If you
Pastry
guys ever
is
worked with Rebecca,
quite the opposite.
Yeah.
she like,
She's so serious.
yeah, you're so serious.
She's like a completely different person. In
Until
the
like
kitchen.
I walk in, and then she's just like, yes.
But Jayce is too. In
Yeah.
the kitchen, you're just like completely, as Danielle would say, military style.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have changed from that. Like, yes, it was at the time.
Was it your daughter that made you change?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
I think
It was
it's-
Rebecca.
No.
No.
No. Well, that's actually what was pretty hard for us when we started dating and like.
Oh yeah, I
being at
didn't even
Danielle.
think about that.
Because I was her boss, and the thing is, I always have made difference between work and outside work. So at work and like whatever anyone could say, she didn't have like a preference of treatment. She was still my cook, and I was as much hard on her.
There were
than
some
anyone.
days I would walk in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, Jayce is screaming at Rebecca. And
Shit, I'm so sorry, everyone.
and I just kind of like had to, I was like, well, I guess it's not, she wasn't talking back, so.
Yeah, I mean, she was. That was a big problem. But no, what I'm saying is like I was really making a difference. So yes, I'm away at work and I'm not necessarily at home after. So me, as soon we were done with work, I was like, hey, my love, my wife.
And she's
Yeah.
like, fuck off.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
That was very difficult because for him it was like night and day. At work he can be like this crazy French pastry chef monster, and then after work, like literally as soon as we would punch out, he would be like, my love, like, what are we eating for dinner tonight? And I was like, I'm sorry, but you just yelled at me all day and
because
gave me
he
the
knows how to
hardest
separate
day.
it, but you don't.
How do you separate it?
How do you separate now?
how-
Now we're actually physically separated. So like,
Oh, really?
he
Yeah.
works
Not
in
like
the
physically.
shop.
They're still married, guys.
Yeah,
They're
no,
still
no.
married.
At work.
No.
She have her area, I have mine.
I
How-
work in my little basement pastry kitchen, away from the world. I
And
literally
he works in the shop.
and he
Yes.
works in the shop.
So is the shop open?
It's not.
Not yet. Like right now, we done like 98% of all construction.
Okay, nice. That's
n-
great.
Yeah, that was.
Wow.
Almost there. We're like just at the final touches, but it just seems like there's always like when you fix one thing, another issue
Yeah.
I
pops
feel
up.
like that always happens,
Well,
even if it's a working kitchen.
Right now, we are more about like waiting for approval of all of the permit.
Uh-huh.
You know, the health department in New York, it's pretty easy. You build everything, and when you're done, you call them, and if under 20 days they didn't contact you, you can open, and they're gonna come to inspect
Oh,
you
really?
later.
I didn't know that
So
was
that's how
New
it
York.
works. In Monclair, it's very different. It's you do everything. You have to send all of your plan and permit to the health department, we need to accept them. When they accept them, you need to send them to the building department. When the building department accepts them, you can request your inspection.
Okay.
And you can start. So that's kind of where we are right now. I think we are about a month or less of the opening. But yeah, no, that's how it starts. So to come back to this, like a lot of opportunity happened at the same time during COVID, and like I start to understand that I was not gonna be called back for my job because I think they took a different direction of what we were doing it. And so I kind of jumped on it. She called back.
I think that's a great thing.
It's good for your
personal
personal
growth. Such an amazing thing that like, not that the pandemic happened, but was that like you got that opening where like you could do your own thing now.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually, I think there is two ways to see the pandemic. Some people are finding that it's terrible, which is it because a lot of people died. But like on your personal life, I actually took it as a chance, to put a stop on the regular life and where you kind of like closed and be like, all right, what can we do? Like for a while we think about like moving to Texas, and like we have looked like really a lot of different options, and this one popped up for me. Rebecca was called back for work, so she went back to work, and at some point I was like, well, we gotta do it. Yeah, I mean after she was back to work, pregnant, and finished back
pregnant, and I was pretty much like, it was me, Chef Sean, and I think 1 or 2 cooks. So I was like pregnant, like baking stuff.
She was 8 months pregnant, and I saw her, and I was like not expecting to see you work.
I remember the call where we're talking like about Danielle was rehiring everyone, and so it's like, oh, Rebecca's coming back, and Danielle's like, oh great, Rebecca's coming back, and then it's like, she's pregnant, and he's like, she's pregnant? Oh my gosh, like he just like. Because none of us knew, it was just like, it's interesting.
I mean, after you gotta
which is congratulations, obviously, but
you gotta understand the situation is like, we were planning to have a baby, and we were just about the 3 months before the pandemic happened, so no one knew about it. Like we each had one person.
You were pregnant before the pandemic ended.
Yeah.
But nobody knew. You never told anyone. I was
pregnant when Chef Gaia was still there.
I'm sorry. You were pregnant before you got let go.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you didn't tell anyone.
No.
Because it was too early.
Well, first of all, there's that like 12-week thing.
Right, of course.
Really
yeah, that's where.
But that's what's crazy is that nobody knew,
it's
and then
taboo.
Jenna and I were doing the math. We were like, she was pregnant before.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like we each have allowed each other to tell one person.
I guess nobody saw me running to the bathroom every like 45 minutes to go throw up.
Oh my God! You were that one that got the morning sickness.
I had not morning sickness. It was more like all day sickness.
Yeah.
I was just like so sick all the time.
So the pandemic happened, and we.
So imagine doing that and having to do a good job while you're working in like Michelin star kitchens
and not telling anyone.
No one knows.
Girl, I've never denied how amazing you are, and you know that. So
the great thing you need to understand is like, so she get rehired, she's all pregnant, and we at some point she have to say, but like our daughter ended up to be late, so she went over the 9 months. So she was late like a week and a half. And we're
like how you said her daughter.
No, our daughter.
Oh, I thought you said her daughter. I'm like,
well,
yeah, you're right.
So we end up to get scheduled for the inducement. So it's scheduled, and I think it's supposed to be on a Saturday. So we're like, you know what? Let's finish work on a Thursday. We get one whole day off. So at this time she's like 9 months over the 9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Were you still working?
Yeah, I worked up until that day when I told them
she looks great.
I'm going to, take this weekend to just relax before the baby comes. And I said my goodbyes and everything. Got home that night. We made dinner. We started watching this scary movie. Don't ask me the name. I have no idea, but it was so shitty. So we start watching this movie, and I'm like, oh, like I feel uncomfortable. I was like, I need to walk around. So I start walking around the apartment, and Jayce is like, are you gonna eat dinner? Like, what's going on? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna eat dinner. Just like, give me a second.
Did you cook dinner?
Probably.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
So I sat down, and then I was like, no, I don't feel like sitting. I need to get up, and I ended up walking up and down our like tiny hallway that we have in our apartment, and after like an hour of doing this, I finally realized, I was like, is this it? And
you were like, this is...
You're so funny.
I didn't realize that I was starting to go through like the birthing experience until like a couple of hours later. I'm like, this is getting worse and worse. Texted my doctor, and my doctor is like, call me when it gets to like a number 10.
Mind you, you're probably due like that night, like actually.
I had the baby that night. Yeah.
Yeah. So she at the end she worked on the day of where she gave birth.
No
like she already
way.
went.
So
Chef
you worked,
Eddie
you got off
even-
work, and then
Went to have her baby.
I went.
you're like, oh, time for the baby.
I said goodbye to everybody. I went home. I made dinner, expecting like I'm gonna relax for a few days. And then that night when I got home, I think my body was like, okay, she's done being stressed out at work, so let's go. It's go time.
That's
And
so
that
crazy.
night, like Julia started to come like.
This is
Make
why
her
we wanted
presence in
you
the
on
world.
the
Wow.
empowerment women episode, because like
It's crazy.
I complain about my back at work. Like imagine being 9 months pregnant, Dahlia. Bitch, I would be a bitch.
I mean,
was
I
a
can't
terrible
imagine-
pregnant woman.
No, you were not.
No, I mean,
No, she was
Jayce,
not.
he's told
No.
me I was like.
Were you emotional?
I don't think I was emotional.
No,
I
I
was
don't
just
think
like complaining about a lot of stuff.
well, after she didn't get lucky, like she really got like.
Oh my god, I had
all
carpal
of-
tunnel.
Yeah.
Like you can develop carpal tunnel during the time that you're pregnant because
do-
your body
you can do
swells.
any-
You
Anything when
can
you're
develop
pregnant.
diabetes. Did you do that?
No, I
Okay,
didn't
good.
get
As a
diabetes.
pastry chef, I just wanted to make sure that
I
would be
don't-
so
Oh, I didn't
bad.
know
I don't
that.
usually eat.
You
the
get like
pastries, so.
gestational diabetes.
That's
Yeah, no, they
crazy.
check for diabetes and all that, but I did develop like carpal tunnel because your body
restless
swells.
legs,
Restless legs.
which is a worse thing.
That sounds like a song. You
My
guys both
feet-
look like you're about to break out into restless
no, but
legs.
The thing is, like, imagine you're sleeping with someone, and
Restless
her leg just cannot stop moving in bed. So I was like, all right,
I
I'm
think-
going on a
yeah.
couch.
I think this is the period of time where we develop this thing where Jace sleeps on the couch half the night.
It finally was coming. We
It's
all
fine
knew
by
it
me.
was
I
coming.
get like a full bed. When I get in bed, like it's just like
It's all
spread
yours
eagle.
anyways.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm
just, like,
I'm bad. I'm like
wings,
that too.
Legs,
I'm the
arms
same
out,
way.
everything. So he comes
Which
to
you're
bed.
not supposed to sleep on your stomach. I'm just letting everyone know.
When you're pregnant?
Or
ever?
anytime.
I
Yeah.
will
Well,
always- I
it's
sleep on my
actually
stomach
really
every night.
difficult anyway because you just end
Yeah,
up
like-
like,
How do you even do that?
floating, doing
yeah,
a
you end
plank
up
on
kind
the
of
bed.
floating. No.
So
That's so funny.
What are you going to serve in your new restaurant
So
or your new?
What are you calling it? Like, what
So
is
it's
like the
called-
whole thing?
it's
Pastry
called
shop.
Jayce Baudry French pastry.
shop.
So was that a fight or was that like?
Well,
No.
no, because
Or you didn't care?
This whole thing is 100% organized by Jace. Like I have a very small part of it.
Are you
so
okay with that? Not trying to start a fight. I just want
No.
to
I'm
know.
fine with that.
Well,
Like he's put in a lot of
100%
work.
of
Like,
Jace.
He
Yeah.
spent months and almost like years
almost
now.
2 years. So
Yeah, to be just like constantly on the computer, like just 24 hours a day pretty much on the phone, calling people, setting things up, meetings, all of this stuff. So it's all him.
Well, no, it's not on me, but
Aw.
she's a big no.
So
I
the
made
beauty
the coffee
and the brains.
diagram.
No. No, she's a
10
big
hours.
part of it.
I'm like-
But it did start with me starting it on my own until at some point I was like, all right, you know what? For us, for our family, I think you should be a part of it, and I definitely want you a part of it. But the name
Aw,
was
that's
already
sweet.
decided. But at first I was starting it on my own. That's why it ended up to be like this. And I mean, after I just could not change everything about
We could
the
change
name,
it
but-
to Rebecca Baudry.
yeah, or just the Baudrys.
There's just it doesn't
Aw,
have a ring
God,
to it.
Maybe-
That's so cute.
No, we were talking about Baudry and Baudry because
Yeah.
he was asking me. He's like, "What is it with the U.S. and you know the law firms when they have like
Yeah, you're-
family members? They're like
Oh, like
they put the same name twice. They're like Baudry and
Or
Baudry.
Johnson and Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson. Like,
Yeah.
He's like, can't they just say the Johnsons?
Well,
I was
first
like,
of all, I
it doesn't
just
have the same ring to it.
the French are very different than the
I'm
Americans.
gonna give you a break. I can hold her.
yeah, give her to Nicole.
Give her to
You
Nicole.
wanna go to see Nicole?
Give the little rat to Nicole.
So
But-
yeah, no, that's so it was like I started it by myself, and after I was need Rebecca. Rebecca is actually the one who is producing everything. Like me, I'm finishing it.
But isn't that awesome? You could just give her the list of things that you need done, and she'll just do it, and you don't have to.
So far for the beginning, that's how it is.
Yeah.
But that's not how I want it to run.
Yeah.
Like first, I'm the one to be in charge of it and the owner of it. But she's not like an employee to me. Like she's the one to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
So far, like right
So
now.
her role is gonna be what exactly?
So her role, she's the pastry chef of it. Like so far.
What's the title?
Pastry chef.
Nice.
Yeah, she got a little.
And you are what exactly?
Owner, executive pastry chef.
Nice. I love that for you guys. You don't even know. I absolutely love.
But the thing is, so far when she joined, I already have made a full menu. So right now she's like producing this menu, but like looking forward, I want her to create the dessert. Like, I mean, I think I see more myself, like managing and make sure everything turns well and. Mostly managing the business part and the customer part.
How do you feel about creating, Rebecca? I don't know how much of that you've been able to do.
Well, at Danielle, it was always a collaborative kind of thing. The pastry chef, whether Chef Gaia or Chef Sean would, kind of have an idea, and we would all like sit in the office, collaborate on it, and come up with something. But I really miss that, like. Working with Jayce on the new pastry shop, he kind of already has a menu that he knows works and he wants to start with, and that makes the most sense because like he knows what sells and what doesn't sell, and we have a set menu to start. But I'm definitely missing that part.
The work, the team.
The creativity, because I'm like an artist at heart. Like I used to love to paint. I don't do it anymore. I have no time to do anything.
Oh my God, paint me naked.
I have so many
love
paintings.
What do you paint?
Wow.
Not humans. I'm terrible at painting. I'm terrible.
Humans are crazy.
I'm terrible at painting like human faces and human hands and all that. But like I'm very good at like psychedelic stuff. I don't know.
I've also been painting through the pandemic. I'll show you some paints
she paints
later.
too.
Yeah, I like dots. Like I like to paint like little tiny dots to fill in.
It's like a therapy.
I don't know, but I haven't painted in years now. So
paint me.
So no, I mean like so far she say like she's following the menu that I planned for the opening. But like I mean she says she's definitely an artist and she's very good. And I mean she have a very good idea. So the next menu just after the opening is definitely gonna have a big part of Rebecca too. So that's
when's the opening that you're thinking of?
Well, hopefully by early October. But as I say, like, I mean, like we're very, very close. But as I said, right now it's not really on our hand. It's more in the office people hands or in the town. So that's more what it is right now.
This one off, by the way.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think that's where we are at. But definitely, you know, at first, as I say, I started by myself, but I definitely couldn't be ready for opening and where we are at now without Rebecca.
Okay.
I think by myself.
Thank you.
I don't think like, no, but you know, at first you think like, oh, that's gonna be easy. I'm gonna be able to do this.
I think hiring employees is probably the hardest thing about jobs.
Well,
like opening up your place and doing it.
I think it's more than that because the thing is like she's an employee, but more she's a partner in life already. But you know, she's the only one. Like I give you an example. Last night, like we came out from work, pick up our daughter, and I'm like, you know what? I need to go to Home Depot to buy some van stuff. And you know what? I just went and it took me 2 hours, and she was by herself at home, taking care of the house, taking care of the baby. And if you don't have someone who understands that, you know, and a real partner in life who can understand that, well, that's why I'm glad also then she is in the venture, like because sometimes I'm gonna be like, you know what, I need to work, I need to do that, but if she was not in the whole adventure, she might not understand that, you know. So yeah, I mean, and I think also the end goal of this was like that's our family business, you know, like that's what it is. Like last week our daycare was closed while she was at work with us, and she's very young, and it was a big struggle, but like she was with us, and you know that changed. I think what changed is now we work for us and for our name, you know.
Aw. Do you think that she's just gonna be around to the whole time, her childhood, just like running around while you guys are making?
Jayce has already planned to put her to work.
Aww.
Oh yeah, I mean.
When does she start working?
What
as soon as she's old enough to fold the packaging? What was first
probably.
on the list?
No, rolled cookies maybe. I mean, like, you know, that's even me when I was a kid. My mom was bringing me at work and doing some little stuff. Like, I mean.
What did she do?
My mom was more like a secretary.
Oh, okay. So you would just go and walk around the office.
Yeah, or she was giving me, you know, they had like newsletter at this time they were sending to everybody. So our boss was like, you know, giving me like $20, and I was spending my day to put like catalog into an envelope and doing that.
That's nice.
And
though.
you know, when you're a kid, like $20, you're like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot. Like, I want it, you know.
Growing up, my mom ran a daycare, and she put me to work every day, helping the kids or meeting the kids at the school bus or changing the diapers. So.
I had to work constantly too as a kid. I wasn't allowed to just chill. She's great. She's doing great. We love babies.
So no, I mean, yeah, that's definitely, she's gonna grow up, like as I say, it's a family business. Like, she's gonna grow up like being with us, and when there is no school, well, she's gonna be with us.
Aw. And how is it being a chef and now having a baby? Like, is it like crazy?
It's a lot. I mean,
yeah.
Would you imagine doing that and working in a real restaurant?
Well, I did it for a while. Like,
oh yeah, you
Julia
did do it for a while.
was maybe 5 months.
Well, you joined the adventure like I think in late June, and so she was already like 6 months. So we did it for a couple months. Well, it's
kind of like one of the major reasons why I even like considered to leave my job. Like, there was just once I had Julia, it was you know, working in the restaurant was not my main priority anymore.
I don't know if she's laughing or having fun.
Because especially working in fine dining, like you're expected a lot of hours. You're expected to like have that as your number one thing in your life. So when Julia was born, like, she's obviously my number one now. So.
It's so weird to hear Rebecca say that.
My number one.
I think especially coming from the three of us, work has always been number one.
Yeah, work is number one.
I just hit a point in my life where like there's other things besides killing yourself at work. Like,
do you think you guys are gonna kill yourself with this job though? That you guys are
yes.
Like,
but
or are you creating an environment?
But that's for us.
I guess the difference is you guys are seeing each other every day.
Well, it's that, but the difference is now we can modulate our job toward this. You know, like as I say, those are days no daycare. And you know what? We need to take care of her. Well, you know, we're gonna walk it around. Like, that's different. Like, we have no one above us. You know, like, we know, like, if we need that, well, we need that. Like, and if Rebecca need to go to leave at this time, or me to leave at this time because our daughter have an appointment or something like this, well, that's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I think it's just amazing to see you two as parents and now owners. Isn't that crazy? Do you not think that's crazy?
It's just funny to think that when I started working at Danielle as my free stage thing, like, I would have never pictured myself being married to Jayce, having a baby with Jayce, starting a business with Jayce. Like, the whole thing has just been such an adventure. I just like picture myself now, like 6 or 7 years ago, and I definitely could not foresee this at all. Like, I really found myself as a person working at Danielle and working with Jayce and just like working in a kitchen in general. Like, I feel so comfortable.
And I always appreciated working with you. I never actually worked with you, but like, you two both have this crazy passion. Like, for each other, for work, like...
You can call it passion, or you can call it
passion. Look at that Long Island just
passion. Like, you both are just
You can also call it OCD. I think We
I
both
do.
have a
No,
little
I
bit of
really don't
OCD.
see it as OCD because you guys are like great as parents. So like in parenting, there is OCD, but like
Well, I
you
think
guys are both just like
I'm
good at
definitely
everything.
the
I
one
think.
to have the biggest OCD. Like
You?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah.
Then
Doesn't
Nicole-
surprise me. I know Jace I mean, I know that you never really worked
I never
directly
worked with
him,
Jayce,
so
but I know
saw
he trained
him-
Rebecca, so I know OCD exists.
Yeah, if
in
you
the
get me, you
relationship.
get Jace because I'm like the exact replication of him,
Who's
but in
tougher
female
though,
form.
you or her? If you were to both be put on,
I think it depends on the time than it is. Like it used to be me definitely a couple of years ago. I think I have changed now, and I think she's probably tougher than I am.
I
now.
think you're tough.
No.
I think he.
Yeah, you
Yes,
are.
yes,
Who's
you
in
are.
charge at home?
At home. I don't know. I'll let you
I-
I'll
she's
let you
a-
answer.
Little
No,
one,
I
little
don't
rat
say
is
the
in
wrong
charge.
answer.
I think
I'm gonna get
we
punished.
both each have decide what we were doing. Like she have her area of expertise at home
Okay.
and what she does, and I have the one that I do. And
I
That's
do the
nice.
cooking and cleaning.
and I do the garbage, and I do the, and I fold the laundry.
And he does the bills.
It's probably
Garbage and
definitely like a
bills.
change of roles at home too,
Yeah,
because
that's
at
nice.
work you are maybe it's interesting.
No, I mean I think at home like it's really something, but like as I say, like in professional way, I really had to change when I became actually executive pastry chef, and time have changed. You know, when I started Danielle, we were really still working kind of like old style French, and time have changed. You know, and you have.
Do you
to,
like the way it changed though?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, yes and no.
Because you do have a woman running your place now. So
No,
like
it's not about the
it's-
gender thing. I don't
Yeah,
think.
no.
no,